everyone, thanks again for tuning in to Sin's Workshop. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we are going to be reviewing Furysong by Rosaria Munda. This is the third book in the Aurelian trilogy. I struggle with the word. But you know what? Fireborn, Flamefall, Furysong. Read them. Why? Because this is a fucking amazing series. I'm so happy it's finally getting the recognition it deserves. I feel like when it was first published, this whole series just kind of fell under the radar. Not for me, because again, I will read anything and anything that has to do with dragons, because I love dragons. Clearly, I love dragons. So I will read anything that has to do with dragons, and I love this series so much, and this book did not disappoint me at all. So this is one of those books where sometimes, or even with that series, you know, when you read a trilogy, the second book kind of falls into that trap of being slower and just a bit like, compared to books 1 and 2, right? So this series, they all just continue to climb and continue to rise. I mean, this book itself, it is non-stop. Absolutely non-stop. This book does not take a breath, but that's so good, because after the events of books 1 and 2, tensions are high. You know, Annie, whose full name is Antigone, and then Lee, I mean, just the romance between them. You just want them to have a happy ending, and everything just keeps threatening to rip them apart, and then you're just like, oh my god, please don't die. And they're dragons, you're like, oh my god, please be okay. It's just such a non-stop adrenaline rush reading this book. I didn't want to put it down. I was just like reading. I was just like, oh my god, I have to go back to work now. I have to go back to my life. I don't want to do that. I want to sit here and read this book because it moved so effortlessly. And it moves so fast. And And it goes between not just Annie and Lee. Now you have 2 new characters. You have Dello and you have Griff. There's 4 different perspectives in this book. And it's just amazing how the story is able to go between these 4 different perspectives without breaking that pace. You're so invested in each of these characters and in the journey that they're taking. You know, the first book, it was just Lee and Annie. Second book, you have Griff and Deal. And Griff, I don't remember if Dello has a point of view, but in this book, now there are 4. And they're all so interesting. Even the characters that you kind of hated, like in book 1, Power. Oh, he was such a dick. But in this book, you're just like, Power! Like, you just want to hold him because he's gone through such an arc. You know, even the side characters get such amazing arcs. I love that about these characters. I love how they grow, and I love how they fit together and how they're really able, I mean, oh, God. Lee's cousin, Ixion, he is such, you just punch him in the face. It's okay, he gets his. But it's just such a great way to conclude the story. Just like the way it began with a revolution in book 1. Lee being highborn, now he's an orphan. And now he rises through the ranks with Antigone. Annie, you know, they are like this since childhood at the orphanage. And they grow together. And they develop such a strong friendship, and they even develop that romance. And you're seeing it all come ahead here. And you're seeing the weight of everything Annie has done in the first 2 books and how it's really just heavy on her shoulders. And how Lee is just a great support system. I mean, she is the hero in this book. She is fierce. She is unstoppable. And Lee is just there for her because he believes in her. He trusts her. And just their whole dynamic is just amazing to see. And even with their dragons, Power, it's just such a fantastic series. And like I said, it doesn't let up. It is bam, 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 from beginning to end. You want everything to just come to a head, and you're just like, it's like an adrenaline rush reading this book. I was just like, oh my god, this book is so good. It's so good. It's fantastic. It was such a perfect conclusion to a well-written trilogy, and I can't stress that enough. The entire trilogy itself, in my opinion, is so well done. it's just executed so well, and you see the path and you see the journey, and just this ending makes sense. It makes sense given how the characters started. It makes sense how the plot developed. You know how sometimes when you read series and you're just like, you go with it, but you're just like, meh, doesn't seem like the proper conclusion for these characters, but okay, we'll go with it. This one, it does seem like that proper conclusion. It is solid. It is well done. It is well paced. That world building is amazing. Those character dynamics, again, I can't stress that enough. Those character dynamics are amazing. Antigone and Lee are just phenomenal characters. And man, I like really want to get into it, but I don't want to spoil it because, whoo, that fight scene at the end, it's so good. It's so good. It's just, whoo! Like I said, it's an adrenaline rush reading this book. It was so well done. I need to stop now because I'm just repeating myself because it's such a good book. It's just moving effortlessly from beginning to end, and it's just, you want dragons, read this book. You want something similar to Fourth Wing, but in my opinion a little bit better, read this series. I mean, I liked Fourth Wing and all. I did give it 5 stars, but you know what? I think maybe I was just caught up in it. This series is so infinitely better, in my opinion. It's just phenomenal. I absolutely love everything about it. I'm so glad it's getting the recognition it deserves now. Once again, this book gets 5 stars. The series gets 5 stars. I mean, it's been a hot minute since I've read the first 2 books. It's been a couple years. But when I was picked, and I was worried, I was like, oh my god, I hope I remembered everything that happened in the first 2 books. As I was reading it, it all came back to me like I read it yesterday. It just came back to me. That's how memorable the series is, and that's how memorable these characters are, and how memorable Rosario Munda's storytelling is. And it helps that it just goes boom, 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 you know? Okay, so I'm gonna stop there. This book, this series, they each get 5 out of 5 stars. I will, of course, include links in the description below on where you can purchase if you so desire. And on that note, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with all your book loving friends. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Read the book. And as always, happy reading.